It's not something locked in history and kept in books and lost memories and lost traditions. They are not lost. Traditions are our sense of inquiry. Traditions are sense of inquisitiveness that to carve out a living from what is local, what is available, and that is the beauty that we have lost. So its tradition is not going back to your party and I ask your grandmother how it was. It is great to know how it was because they had the sense of inquiry alive. And what we need to know is not their recipes. We can actually make a what is that, mantakali ogranta for all you care, instead of mantakali charu, which is the traditional way of making. So what you make is not important. That you make is important, and that it is growing around you is important to know. So that sense of inquiry is our tradition. That sense of inquiry is our culture. So when we say that let's go back to our culture, let's go back to our tradition, that's what we want to go back to. Not the ABCDs and 1, 2, 3, 4 and we are done. No, those are not. Then it's easy to say that's not about our tradition. That's not about that food is not our. Everything is our tradition. Everything is our culture as long as we are connected to it. We are connected to the same soil where they are growing. So if they are growing and they are around us, they are part of our tradition. We can build that. Tradition is not something which is, it's not a photo. Right. It's not locked in time. It has to change. It will change only if we are adding to it. It cannot change if we keep on referring to it what it was. What it was is a very important part to what it is going to be. But what is going to be is a very important part of it is what it is now. So we cannot just take what it was and believe that it will go to the future. We have to build the present. So that's the block where we are now. That's why we have so much to do, because here is action comes. Because what we had, yes, we can look at food history, we can look at elderly people in our families, we can read other books, and we can hope that in the future this will be used in differently. But what we can do now is to link ourselves with what is growing around us, be aware, even if we don't have to have the confidence to eat it. But just to be aware, that plant I didn't see it last year. This year it is growing. Or last year it was only a few. This year it has taken off the entire, this interplay is going on. This transition of one plant coming in, another plant coexisting, then one is taking over. This succession is very interesting. Even if you do not use at all, just to notice in our surrounding, all these changes are happening. Changes, does a little change in you. Then you figure out, okay, maybe, if you really believe in that nature is giving us exactly what we need, maybe what is growing abundantly, let me figure out what it is. Can we use it in certain ways? Sometimes you cannot use it. It is only medicinal, but you know that it's a fantastic medicinal plant growing in my yard. You don't feel like, having the extra energy or putting a labor to actually go and pull it out, because there is no need. Only if it is choking, of course, you take out that part and you do that. So it actually is much more enriching and much more informed action also, because you will not unnecessarily take out something which is not necessary to take out. In fact, it is beneficial to keep it there, because as I said in the walk also, that weeds draw out the nutrients which the normal plants that we have planted cannot draw out. So it makes the nutrient available to the plants that we have planted. Most of the weed plants have flowers that are actually, and if you see, there are a lot more blues in the wildflowers. Yeah. Blue is a rare pigment. It's a rare pigment in nature. Blue, a lot of energy the plant invests in producing something blue. So you can see sometimes the plant has white, and actually what is blue to us is maybe bluish already. White to us is already bluish to a bee, maybe in the blue eye, in the bee eye. But sometimes you will see that in for example, Asastasia gangetica, gangetic primrose, there is a variety where the whole plant is white, but there's a tinge of blue. So there is a little blue, because blue is it's an expensive pigment if you really think of it that way. It's you want to use it sparingly, but if you use it, it's a sure bet that pollinators will going to come. So many of the blue flowering plants, if you see in the nature, if you see kurunji, like the whole nilgirianthus, I think it's called strobilanthus something now. So the whole Nilgiris is named by the kurunji.
Yeah.
There's the synchronized flowering every 12 years of these blue flowers.
Nilgiri.
The whole hills becomes blue. So that's why it says Nilgiri. It actually comes from Pune onwards, the whole thing. It doesn't come like Pune to Kanyakumari doesn't have the Kerala doesn't have the same synchrony. It does that within the region has some year in the Pune region it is flowering, some year it is in the Kerala region it's flowering, but in that region it is synchronized flowering. The whole mountain becomes blue. So the blue flowers almost always tend to grow and flower together, because it's an expensive pigment and they have used it. They also want to enhance the efficacy of it by flowering together, because then it becomes a mass of blue. No? So for sure the pollinators would come. So if you really look at our cultivated varieties that we grow, tomatoes and eggplants and whatnot, they are carrots and what you have, this thing, they don't have blue flowers, not all at all. So most of the plants are actually being attracted to the weeds. Most of the pollinators, yeah. So the pollinators are coming to the weeds, and since they have come, they also eat whatever you have offered other things. Since they are all energy efficient people, other than human, almost everything is energy efficient. Like if they are around in some places, they will figure out a way to use that place as best as their ability, and then they will go to another. So since they come attracted to the weedy flower, they'll have the weed, and then they will move on to other things that are available there, and then they will move out. So so actually keeping weed in the plants, it's not only that you can eat, it is medicinal, but it is also an excellent indicator to the soil. It is an excellent attractant to the pollinators. So the benefits are more, and more you learn and tune yourself to that, you realize it's an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem approach, because by letting everybody in, you are actually enriching the whole system, right? So you are allowing the interplay that happens in nature, in your yard, in your garden, around you, in your farm. And more you do that, less expensive it is for you, less tiresome it is for you to actually go and monitor, oh my god, like this is that not happening, because you let the nature play. But also it's also enormously enriching and healthy for the plants, because
and more tasty for me also.
That's absolutely without saying. So yeah, so that's you want to take that?
No.
Okay.
Whoa. Thank you.